Hi everyone, it's Lennon. Today I got dolled up, all dolled up, all dolled up to talk to you guys about immortality and necromancy, I guess, to an extent, because I think that we take our humanity, our mortality for granted, because I don't know. I think that the universe, like it's the universe is something that we come out of. So it's like we're born of it, we die of it. This concept of cosmos, universe, divinity, creation, whatever. There's always another side to the story. And I think that humanity as a whole has been putting their hand up to the other side of the coin, no matter what it is. Whatever the other side of the coin is, it's like that whole the grass is greener on the other side thing. It's like, okay, well, but you didn't flip the coin over, you know? That's what I loved about Two-Face in the Batman sagas. It was, that man was on point, okay? He was evil, he was a villain, you know, but for some reason it was like that concept that he had, that he lived by. He lived by duality, you know? Like, how is that? And then it's like, since thinking about this video topic, I thought about him a lot, you know, the Tommy Lee Joneses, and this somehow duality being evil. Well, hey, I know. I don't want to pet you right now. I mean, I'll tap you on the stomach. It's Missy, you hear her breathing. Anyway, so in terms of immortality and my spirituality, and I guess largely my magic, because my magic derives from the universe. It derives from the planet. It's like a micro and macrocosm. It derives from the planet, which is what gets sucked into me, and then I give it back through ritual, you know, well, largely, I guess, through, I give it back in ritual, and it goes this way instead of coming up from the bottom, which is what the planet does for me. And then, not to mention all the things that the planet does for you in terms of water, in terms of plants, like what you eat, things like that. I think that also is a form of, I guess, for lack of a better term here, grounding. And we take those aspects for granted. But then when we give it back, even if we are in somehow this dualistic nature with this oneness with the universe, we're going this way, we give it back. But then we don't think about it. I thought about a video that I watched recently by, I love to watch Sheila El Haight. She's a tarot enthusiast. She's an astronomer, or an astrologer. An astrologer, yeah. And she posts weekly videos on YouTube. And this week that I'm in, I don't know when I'll actually be like submitting this, uploading this to YouTube, but I think we're in like the first week of December. She was talking about how this new moon that's coming up, I think it's coming up this following Saturday, which would be like the first Saturday of December. It's a new moon, but it's also a full lunar eclipse, full solar eclipse here. Like, I guess in my part, in the United States. I don't know if it'll fall anywhere else in the world, but here we're having a full solar eclipse with a new moon. It's like new beginnings coming out of the woodwork, but she said that this is like karma. It's like your carbon footprint is getting completely redone. And the last time that happened was in 2002. 19 years. This is a 19-year cycle that's about to end this coming Saturday. And when I heard that, I did some more research on like what this moon is going to be doing, like Sagittarius, you know, Neptune, like the trines and the sextants and things like that. And so I did some more research, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a magical fucking weekend, okay? Because the most traumatic experience I've had in my life, I haven't had a lot. I'm blessed. I haven't had a lot, but out of all of them, including childhood, the the most traumatic experience that I've ever had was in 2002. And when she said that, it was like my consciousness went to the shadow. And it makes me think of that. It makes me think of these cycles that we get into that we don't even like. I don't want to say I never think of it. It's just something that's kind of repressed at this point, probably unhealthily. This trauma that I endured, right? And I don't think of it on a day-to-day basis. But when she said the year, I immediately got shoved back there, and I was like, holy shit, I have an opportunity here. Now, sometimes it happens like this where we put too much emphasis on our magical workings and like too much severity on ourselves, and that can kind of like, I know Kellyanne said this recently in one of her videos, it can kind of make you not want to do it anymore. Because you're like, fuck, I gotta do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, or the door is open, the door of opportunity is open, and I'm not doing that shit anything about it. It's like sometimes you gotta let them just, just wave, maybe next time, maybe in 19 years, But I wouldn't have even thought about it like this, in an astrology way, in a 19-year cycle way. Even though the planets are aligning this way, I wouldn't have thought of my trauma as being a part of a 19-year cycle, where this coming Saturday, with it being this monumentous new beginning thing, that I could potentially have this huge open garage door, not even a regular door, of an opportunity to let it go in a healthy way. Maybe make plans to talk about this more in therapy. Maybe talk to the people involved if you can. Sometimes I'm in a position to talk to the people directly involved in this trauma, and in a healthy way. Like, we have a good relationship. They weren't involved in the trauma, but they know about it, so I can have the dialogue with them. So there's that. I could talk and get some stuff off my chest, I guess. But in terms of immortality, I think that these cycles that we go through, a lot of us don't even think about the astrology. A lot of us don't even think about the opportunities that are presented to us in our mundane, everyday working lives, or our mundane lives, our mundane lives on this planet. But then what the cycles are doing as a whole. Like, what does this mean? What was the Earth doing 19 years ago? Was there a global, a global warming scare? Like, go back to newspapers of 2002. I mean, I know a year is a long time. Okay, a lot of shit can happen in a year. Hurricanes and earthquakes can ravish. But it's like, what were the major points of that year on the planet? And look at it in like a global sense, and then think about what that impact would have been on a macrocosm level. And then for some reason, stuff like that pinpoints me like a tack right to the earth, and then it pinpoints me like someone has gone, like, here's the universe, and they've kept zooming and zooming and zooming in until you get to my dot, and it's like nothing in the grand scheme of things. And it's scary, sure, but it can kind of, like, when you really fucking think about it, it's gonna scare you. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you like it is. You're not really thinking about it if it doesn't like terrify you that of how massive the universe is. And I think that I want my pinpoint and my carbon footprint to stay small. I don't want to have to constantly fight my mortality to gain immortality, which isn't even a thing. There's ways in which we can achieve immortality without giving up the fact that the inevitability that we're going to die. We're completely forgotten that we're going to die, that we all are going to die. Now, what scares me the most is the time. Like, time, it's not death. It's not the stopper, okay? It's not the snip. It's more so like, if I died tomorrow, my children are still young. They haven't gotten married yet. They haven't gotten kids. Whatever the fuck they want to do in their life, I wouldn't have been a part of if I died tomorrow, right? Those types of things I think about. It's like, not the doom, not the pain, not the, like I said, the you know, the severity of that cut in the time you have here on earth in conscious way. But it's more so like, what have I done? Like, what have you done lately to where you're still small, not leaving too much of yourself on the earth for people to have to clean up after you, but then there's a legacy, I believe in destiny, I believe in fate, but I also believe in legacy to an extent. Now, my legacy will happen to be my children. They'll like keep up the family traditions, probably, things like that. Little things that, you know, my family and a couple of generations back maybe have done, you know, like consecutively over the generations. My kids will probably continue to do, just in the fact that they smile like me, or one of them's got my nose, you know, and the other one's got my eye color. It's like, that's legacy too. But then there's a lot of people out on the planet that aren't interested in having children at all. And it's like, what is their legacy? What are they birthing, you know? I'm not trying to talk about like death in a scary way here. I'm just trying to say that I was thinking about my spiritual practice and immortality, and how we seem to be, humanity, okay, as a umbrella term, we tend to be scared of our own mortality. But that's what we were put on earth for. We were put on earth to be humans, to be these beings. But a lot of people, they're so scared of the finality of death that they've forgotten that they can learn about themselves, they can learn about their traditions, they can learn about their ancestry, they can learn about the universe, they can learn about science, and they can gain knowledge. But then on the flip side of the coin, okay, rounding it out kind of full circle here, I was watching a video that said, I'm going to leave that video below because it was so profound. This Australian, he knows his shit. Like, he just, it's like Alan Watts. You know, it's just like, just keep him on a loop and I'll just listen to him. He said that we have this thirst for knowledge. Like, we want to sit under this willow tree and listen to the leaves, because, you know, that's like something I like to do. You know, you listen and you have shade, and you have this beautiful like rain sound that comes from the willow, and we want so bad, just like, oh, how old is this tree? So we cut it down to see how many, you know, rings it has, or we use its branches for something, or we make paper out of it, we put an apartment complex. And it's like, in our thirst for knowledge, we have completely eradicated the paradise that is ours, our paradise. I completely 100% believe that heaven and hell are in us. We make our own hell, and that this Eden, this paradise that everyone seems to talk about in a religious context, we make for ourselves. What is paradise? It's fucking happiness, okay? And a lot of people don't get it. But in our thirst for data, and in our thirst for knowledge, we cut down the trees that make up our paradise, and we cut down the grass, and, you know, we don't let anything go wild. We trim all the hedges, and everything's perfect, and we know how this grows, and we know how this grows, and we know why this lichen is hanging out in the sun, but we don't want it on our trees because it's technically a fungus and it could kill this. And it's like, in our pursuit of knowledge, and then in our destruction of things on this planet that have ultimately led to the destruction of our paradise, what are we destroying? We're destroying our happiness. So for me, my spiritual practice, this primeval witchcraft, getting back to what the witches of old, even though they probably wouldn't have called themselves that, the ones that loved the earth, there was a severe veneration between humanity and the earth, the planet. And then they read signs, they read omens, they read the stars. This form of primeval witchcraft is something that I strive, pay homage to it. I said this in my primeval witchcraft video as well. I'll leave that in the cards for you if you are interested. Oh, man, it is getting so cold here. I love the cold. I'm sitting here like my toes are frozen, and it's like I'm kind of shivering, you know, like in the gut area, but it's like such a good shiver. Okay, so anyways, and that's another reason that I've been thinking about this, because it's that time of the year for here, for here where I live on this planet, and I don't do all that I would like for the earth. I don't. Hell, I'm a modern woman. I'm a modern witch. I use chemicals, Sometimes I don't recycle. It's like, but I think about humanity, and I think about our disgust and how society has also hindered our ability to get back to this soul place where paradise is. And on our quest for knowledge of this planet, anyway, I don't know what I was saying because I was interrupted. On our quest, you have to destroy things to get to know it in a lot of the science world. And we've destroyed so much of our planet through means of knowledge. But all of it, every single bit of destruction that we have done through pharmaceutical work, like herbs and plants, trees for paper and like paper goods and things like that, and to build more homes because people cutting, killing certain animals, cutting up certain algae and bacteria, and like those are living things. Crystals, even, I believe crystals are technically, it's like an energy, they're not alive, but there's an energy transference in crystals. They're conduits, that's what I want to say. And through all this destruction, it's one thing that's like on ground zero of it all. It's our fight against death, when we should be looking at our soul patterns and getting to know ourselves, because we can do that without destroying ourselves. And yeah, sure, there's some necromancy that needs to be involved, but for me, necromancy is such a powerful ass term. I love that term. Okay, resurrection and but largely necromancy, like bringing back to life something that is dead, Because in our lives, and in my witchcraft and my magic practice, there's stuff that over the years, like I was talking about this 19-year cycle, that I've banished, I've banished or let go. But then, who knows, in 10 years, I may need that. There might be an aspect of that, that chink in the armor that I need again. Maybe it's not serving me now, but who the fuck knows what's going to happen in a decade, What did happen a decade ago? Like for me, my trauma. I've been grappling with it. I've been doing some shadow work around it, but it's like been the bare minimum. I haven't really let it go. I haven't really done all I could do with it. But I buried some aspects to repress the bigger aspects of it, right? But in order to let the whole thing go, I'm going to have to pull that shit up from the grave, from the filing cabinet that is my brain. I'm going to have to pull that shit up. I'm going to have to, it's alive. I'm going to have to do that shit so that the whole thing becomes this energy ball, right? But there's going to be chunks missing if I don't bring it back to life from the grave. It's in the grave. I buried it. I repressed certain aspects of this trauma, right? But to pull it back up, to make the trauma one thing instead of a whole bunch of little things, that, I guess, I'm not a therapist, but in my opinion, the consciousness works that way. Like, it's easier to bury a whole bunch of little things than one big thing, This takes a bigger hole, like, think about in terms of gardening and things like, it's like what I go to. You need 6 feet for a whole person, right? It's the same kind of concept. If I'm doing seed droplets, I might not even have to dig a fucking hole. I can just drop that shit right on the ground, let it do its thing. But when I want to let something go that's pretty big, that's been pretty big in my life, there's some necromancy involved. But along with that, I can't be afraid of it. It's dead, Okay, I banished that shit. I killed it. I burnt some leaves on top of it. I buried it, and like I did some witchy shit to it. That means it's dead. Okay, which means it's not gonna necessarily, that little part of that trauma isn't gonna haunt me anymore. However, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You can't be afraid of the death of this whole thing, because you need that courage, you need that strength to go at it, to get the shovel, to get that spade out and dig it up at midnight. Like at fucking midnight, the stars are out, it's cloudy, there's no moon in the sky, and I got my spade and I've got my cloak on, you know? And I dig this up. And once I get it, it's like a little bitty ball of black light, right? Not black light as in UV, but black. Like, and it's kind of crackling because it's a one piece to a jigsaw puzzle. And I have to pick it up, and I'm feeling that energy. It's dead, okay? It's dead energy, but that's still energy. There's a decomposition happening here. That's energy. You know, putrefaction in alchemy, right? And then I have to link it to this ball that's this jigsaw puzzle. And then all those combine into this. I have pulled it up from the dredges. I have dug it up from the grave. I was my own grave robber. And then I have to somehow ritualize this whole thing getting buried. And that takes time. That takes more energy of yours. And it's a constant push and pull, but we're so scared of all the aspects, the small and the big aspects of the finality of death. Time, you know, we're scared of Father Time, scared of pain, scared of doom, like an apocalyptic dystopian thing. And we're so scared of all those tiny aspects that we forgot that the whole here is you. And right now, I'm going to be, I'm going to listen to traffic. I'm going to be cold. And there's something about winter that is always like gets me like this, because I can see my breath. It's the only time that you can see your breath. Now, I'm not talking about like in the shower, like on the wall, you know, you're like on the window. That's different. That's not technically technically it is your breath, but you can't, like, you know, it's not manifesting out into the real world, like for you to see. It's on a pane of glass or something. And I love to be able to see breath fog. That makes, I don't know, something about that just makes me feel witchy. And then feeling the weather, getting out in the rain, which I talked about in my like storm magic video. I get out in it, okay? I want to feel that crap. And like my toes, I'm literally, they feel like hypothermia. I mean, they're not, but they feel like it because I'm not wearing anything. I'm completely barefoot. But it's like, I'm not even touching the earth. I'm not touching grass. But for some reason, this cold, this weather seeping into to my bones is doing something to my soul. It's making it more alive. It's making me feel more alive. I'm not destroying anything. I'm trying to feel alive the most I can, because I don't fear the finality of death. I want to feel alive. I don't want to constantly be in fear of death. I want to feel like fucking alive, and a lot of people don't even feel that in their lives. And it's like we have to find a way to, one, figure out what our relationship is to immortality, and then turn that over. And what is your relationship with your own mortality? What makes you feel alive? And then what is buried? What little piece of you is buried out in this field of wildflowers, in this fertile fucking earth? And you know, you got to go out there dead middle of the night at witch's hour, and coyotes are everywhere and shit, and you've got your shovel and you've got your courage, and you have to go out there and dig that shit up necromancy style. It's like, what is your relationship to all those things? Oh, I'm rambling. Anyway, happy winter. Let me know your thoughts about this. and how maybe these three concepts, or just death in general, winter in general, what you do, what is different about these things in witchcraft, in your magic. And even if you, like, say you come to this video for something and you're not witchy, or you don't feel magical, or whatever the hell the case is, that soul that lives in you, I feel like it's like right here under my boobs, right? Like it's like in my gut. I've always wanted it. This thing that you call your soul, wherever it resides, okay? Some people have it up here. What has been destroying that? Because that's your paradise. This concentrated fizzy ball of crackles and volcanic, just this potent shit. What's been destroying it? And then what's making you fear tapping back in, letting some of it out, just to show someone someday, or to show yourself what you can really do. Let me know all your thoughts. All right, I'm gonna stop my rambles. Go cook dinner, because I was interrupted. It's like every night around this time, my kids are like, "What's for dinner?" Much love.